Hi, everyone. Good afternoon, and thanks for joining us for our webinar on streamlining business operations using Modern Workplace and Dynamics 365 Business Central. I'm Michelle Murray with the Turnkey Technologies marketing team, and along with our friends and partners at Tech Data and Louisville Geek, we're very glad that you've made time for us this afternoon. Just a couple of housekeeping items before we get started. We will have a couple of poll questions throughout the webinar. And also we have a Q&A at the end. So if you have any questions that come up, please don't hesitate to put them into the webinar chat, and we'll be glad to get those answered for you, either right then and there, or we'll save them till the end at the Q&A. So with that, I'd like to introduce our first presenter, Ann Diaz with Turnkey Technologies. Ann?
Thanks, Michelle. Hi, everyone. I'm happy to be here with you today. I am the Director of Business Central at Turnkey Technologies. I have been working with the Business Central product since its release in 2017. I've also been working with the Dynamics products, including Nav, GP, and Solomon since 20 plus years as a consultant, as a project manager, and as a practice director. So we're going to start today with our first poll question. So I'd like to ask everyone to take a look at this question and provide some answers, and we'll look at the results next. How has COVID-19 affected your business in 2020? And you can select multiple choices here, and I'll just give you some time to do so before I go to the results. So I know there have been a ton of impacts, not all of which can be represented here, but employees working remotely, business temporarily closed, business under restricted capacity, business shifting to online selling, business has grown, or no change, business as usual. So let's see if we have any results from the question. Looks like employees working remotely has been an impact for sure. I know that is something that has impacted me. Business has grown, that's great. And then no change, business as usual. That's good too. All right. So we'll start through my presentation today on Business Central. The number one concern on the minds of small and medium business owners is growth. Systems are holding companies back from the growth that they're trying to achieve, and this can manifest in a number of ways. There are several signs that point to the need for an ERP system. One is that systems are disconnected and your information is siloed. This is a very common problem facing small businesses and medium-sized businesses. Many of our prospects will describe scenarios where they have to copy and paste information or rekey information multiple times in multiple different systems in order to complete a process or a task. Sometimes reporting is complicated, and even when you do get reports out, they provide insufficient information. Out-of-the-box reports are basic, and organizations need to buy additional software like ClickView or Tableau to or configure their existing reports to get deeper insights. And these are expensive, time-consuming efforts. Also, it can be too expensive to upgrade or maintain your legacy systems. It's the gradual growth of the business which makes the current software insufficient. That you lack integration with payroll or inventory systems. We hear that a lot. Or if you've been using the same software for 10 plus years, it's become outdated, it may be no longer supported. And maintaining the systems and adding new functionality for your business gets expensive. So we've identified some top reasons here why small and medium businesses adopt a new business management solution. And these map really well with the pain points that we've gathered from our own customer research. Growing businesses often outgrow your basic accounting software or your legacy ERP systems. You can't handle increased inventory and transactions. You lack integration with other line of business systems, and you have those reporting limitations that I just talked about. And so you feel pain around scalability, mobility, and the cloud. So if you think about your existing systems, you wonder if you have what it takes to make the most of the new opportunities. Here's some signs that your current solutions aren't ready to handle additional growth. Your systems are disconnected, your information is siloed, you've got duplicate data entry into multiple systems, that's a daily part of your routine. Accounting occurs in Excel, not your financial system. Reporting is complicated and provides insufficient information. And lack of secure workflows or audit trails. So you have some risks around those two areas. Inability to handle increased inventory or growth from transactions. These are all signs that you should take a look at some additional opportunities that may be out there. For growing businesses that have outgrown their existing accounting software, Microsoft Dynamics 365 Business Central is an all-in-one business management solution that connects people and processes. That's quite a mouthful, so I'm just going to call it Business Central. It's deeply integrated with Office 365, and it includes built-in intelligence. It's easy to use and helps you make better business decisions. Dynamics 365 puts flexibility at the core of your business so you can grow at your own pace. You can adapt in real time. You could start small with the right fit for where you are today, for your industry, and for your needs, and then you can extend that as your business evolves and grows. Here's an example of what our clients are saying about Dynamics 365 Business Central. We no longer have to store data in separate systems that don't work together. It's all integrated. And that's really the key right there. With Business Central, you connect your people and processes with one unified solution. And so the data can be quickly and easily shared with the right people at the right time throughout your company. And you have access to the most current and accurate data, so you're making the best decisions possible. Functions like payroll, banking, CRM, these are all now just as integrated. So your people can share the most current data, respond to customer requests with accurate information. So a couple examples of integrations. The PayPal Payments Standard extension allows users to pay invoices faster with a trustworthy service like PayPal. They don't have to enter their credit card information on websites or go to multiple websites to take care of the payment. The Yodlee bank feed, this is another standard extension that allows users to reconcile payments by linking their bank accounts to their own online bank accounts. So you have the ability to have a feed directly into Business Central for daily, weekly, monthly bank transaction reconciliation and processing. And you can synchronize common data types like customers, contacts, sales information, and keep it up to date in all of your locations. So the salesperson can reference inventory levels, what's available in inventory from Business Central when they create a sales order. This slide shows the core capabilities of Microsoft Dynamics 365 Business Central. As you can see, those core capabilities are quite extensive. It's truly a business management solution that is connecting processes like never before. It makes managing your financials, your sales, service, and operations easier and faster. So you've got areas to cover all your needs in financial management, sales and service, project management, supply chain management, operations management, and robust tools for reporting and analysis as well. One of the features that makes Dynamics Business Central unique, there are no compromises with your mobile experience. So sometimes mobile versions don't provide the same functionality. With Business Central, you actually have support on all mobile devices equally. So you get the same desktop capabilities on Windows, iOS, and Android platforms using whatever device you choose. And essentially, you can run your business from any of these platforms with a consistent experience from the desktop to the smartphone. You still have your high-level security features built into each of those as well. So you can shorten the time from quote to cash by managing your entire process within your Outlook inbox. With Business Central, you can set up your customers or vendors and get to work. You can create a quote by pulling your product details and quantities directly from a customer's email. You can input key points into your quote in a template format in Outlook and email the final quote within minutes. And it's just as simple to create and send an invoice for payment. As part of the experience inside Outlook, the customer and vendor history is immediately accessible. So the system actually reads the context of the emails and connects you directly to your customer or vendor in question, so you can access the most current information. So you can make quick decisions. You don't have to go into a separate application. With Business Central, you don't have to toggle between multiple applications. So you can be in one screen, share information and insight that are going to lead to a better customer service experience for your clients. You also have the ability to feed data directly into Microsoft Excel. So you can read, write, update items, even sales orders and purchase orders within Excel. This is a powerful option for bulk imports, exports, and updates as well. Excel-based data analysis using charts and pivot tables is also, a piece of this functionality. You also have an integration to Microsoft Word with Business Central. And so what that means is you can open up customer-facing documents or vendor-facing documents, really any outgoing document, like a quote or an invoice, and you can easily modify it to have your logo, your required fields, the pieces of information that you deem necessary for your outgoing documents, and using an interface like Word that we're all very familiar with. So you can improve productivity and get more done with the workflows, audit trails, and have the sense of security that is in place as well. So out of the box, you'll have workflows across sales and accounting to track cash flow, to secure purchasing, credit authorizations, vendor payments, things like that. You have predefined alerts, predefined approval workflows that you can set up with assisted setup. Assisted setup is a feature within Business Central that takes what's out of the box and helps you configure it using a wizard type format. Really, this applies across multiple documents within the system. I mentioned purchase documents, sales documents, but also payment journals. Even setting up new customers or items can be set up with an approval workflow. So for example, when a record such as a purchase document or a customer card needs to be approved by someone, you send an approval request as part of a workflow. And based on how that's set up, the appropriate approver is notified that the record requires their approval. You can set this up via email so that approvals are handled that way. You can also set it up so that it's handled via a queue on your home screen in Business Central. So a lot of flexibility there. The idea behind Business Central is to get the complete picture across your business with reports when and where you need them. So connecting your business is the key. The outcomes of that, the reports and the analysis data that you have, are very central. In the cloud, you have a more flexible deployment model. It's very reliable, it's secure. You have your data in the cloud to enable remote work and collaboration. System upgrades are no longer a costly endeavor. And you stay up to date with the latest functionality and features at all times. You're always in sync with other users of the system on the same modules and feature sets. And you can also scale your feature set as your business grows. You can start out with the pieces that you need initially to run your business, and as more functionality is needed, you can expand what you're using in the system. Dynamics 365 Business Central connects people and processes with a single unified solution, so your data can be quickly shared with the key people in the company. And you can deliver exceptional service to your customers, looking at service tasks, workloads, employee skills. You can assign resources, accelerate case resolution. It really is an end-to-end Business Central solution. One of the most important things is being able to analyze sales performance and use those decisions across the board. So you can easily track ongoing sales performance and leverage the insights that you are given in your dashboard to focus on customers that have the greatest potential for long-term growth. You can prioritize sales leads based on revenue potential, keep track of your customer interactions. You can get guidance based on the best upsell, cross-sale, renewal opportunities, just to maximize revenue throughout the sales cycle. You can boost productivity by accelerating the quote to cash process and act quickly on your sales-related inquiries, manage your service requests, and process payments, all from with Outlook. And you have configurable dashboards and multi-dimensional reports that allow you to look at your KPIs, look at inventory, look at sales, look at order status. You can also have Power BI dashboards right there within Business Central to give you all of the dashboards and visuals that powerful tool allows you to see. And it's all with live data in real time, all together in one place. There are pre-built dashboards as well. So you also have advanced analytics, and that makes it simpler to access, model, and analyze data across multiple dimensions. You can do that ad hoc, you can make customized reports, and any data source really can be fed into those company dashboards. The Q&A search bar lets your people type in a question, drill into the answer, and share with others inside or outside the organization. So very quick access to the information that you need, whether it be a screen, a report, or a help document. So you can use built-in intelligence to predict when and what to replenish, and you purchase only what you need with the dynamically updated inventory levels. You can leverage the sales forecasts that are built in that will automatically generate production plans, create purchase orders, and you can avoid lost sales, reduce shortages. Within the standard functionality of Business Central, you can maintain your stock levels, lead times, reorder points, and you can use the requisition worksheet to suggest substitutes when requested items are out of stock. So a lot of rich functionality there for inventory levels, purchasing, and making sure that you have the right inventory in stock at the right time. You also have project accounting functionality. You can manage budgets and monitor progress with real-time data. You can track customer projects with timesheets, advanced job costing and reporting. You have the ability to put budgets in place to ensure project profitability and manage resource levels across the entire project, both capacity-wise and sales-wise. Track invoicing for customers against your projects, and you can analyze how you ultimately did project performance-wise and make effective decisions with those real-time insights. With the applications you need, you can add the solutions at your pace. And I've talked about that a little bit. The applications are very flexible and scalable. So if you have rapid business changes that lead to more opportunities, you can keep in step with that. Growth stays positive. You can keep up with the momentum, and this is what you would expect when running in the cloud, and this is what you can expect from Business Central. It's a very flexible platform, keeping up with the pace of change and connecting your processes and your people. So again, start with what you need and grow at your own pace to run your entire business in the cloud. What I'm going to do next is a features demo. I'm going to go through some of the features that I've talked about in the slides, just to give you a quick look in Business Central as to what those look like. So I'm going to share my screen to do that. So we're now looking at the home screen, and you can assign users to one of the many out-of-the-box role centers so that the tiles and the cues that default on their home screen will give them access to the things that they need. I'm logged in as a business manager, so I have access to a variety of things in finance, sales, and purchasing. You can see here at the top of my screen, I have quick access actions, as well as tiles and cues for various pieces of information. I mentioned to you during my slide presentation that there was easy access to really anything that you could need in here. And I was talking about the global search, which allows you to type in anything that you're looking for and come up with all the possibilities. So if I was interested in looking at the profiles, the role profiles that I just mentioned to you, I could search for that. And it will give me a list of screens that I could go to set up roles and profiles, or to documentation, or even to Microsoft App Source, which is just all of the integrated apps that are out there on the platform. I'm going to click on sales quotes to take a look at what I have in this queue. And this will open up for me a list of all of my quotes. And I can drill down into them further from here as well. I can see a quick look at customer statistics on the right-hand side. You'll see this common thread in all the screens throughout Business Central. If I click on See More for my overdue sales invoices amounts, I can see what I've got that's past due from my customers. I can click Actions, Functions, and from here I can take care of many actions for these documents, such as sending a reminder via email to the customer that I have highlighted, reminding them that a payment is due. I could also generate a finance charge memo and send that to my customer, as well as navigating directly to the customer. And this will take me into the customer card, where I have all kinds of information about my customer, not only general information and address information, but information about their sell to customer sales history, where I can drill down into these specific documents, as well as their statistics, also allowing me to drill down into the different hyperlinks here. So really quick access to what I need to see. I can also navigate to the contact list, because maybe I want to see what the history is for contacts to this customer. I'll choose one of my contacts, and I can see here a history of the interactions with this customer. There was an outgoing phone call yesterday made. I could make another phone call. I could create another interaction, such as an email. It's all tightly integrated with not only Teams, but with Outlook. So I'm able to keep track of all those interactions, and anyone with the access to the customer contact card can see that history and know what actions have been taken for this customer. So I'm going to go back to my home screen. And from here, I want to show you a few more things. I mentioned in my slide presentation that there are all kinds of built-in workflow approvals in Business Central. And here is where I would see any requests to approve that I've sent, or anything that has been sent to me to be approved. And again, this can be for things like getting a purchase order approved. This can be for making sure payments are approved to vendors, to make sure a new customer that has been set up has been approved and their credit authorization is accurate. That's what you would use all those approval workflows for. I also have a setting for tasks. I can assign tasks to myself and keep a running task list, or other users can assign tasks to me. If I open this up, it shows that I am due to do a Business Central demo today. I am completing that right now, and I can mark that complete. That's just a really powerful tool for many different users, whether it's accounting, whether it's salespeople, to be able to keep track of what they need to do and how it's tied to different customers or vendors or other entities in the system. You can personalize your home screen to have whatever information you want and is most useful for you. So I've personalized mine here to include some different insights that were important to me. So I identified some favorite accounts, for example, and I can just quickly drill into them and see all of the entries that make it up. I can search those entries. I can send those entries to Excel if I want to analyze them further. So just a quick access into a specific account. I also have here my key performance indicators. These are out of the box, and here are just some examples of the ones that you can choose. I have cash flow, aging, top 10 customers by sales, which is what I had selected, aged inventory information, top 5 customers by sales value. So those will be available for you to use, and it will access your data in real time and stay up to date. Also have the ability to have Power BI reports right here on your dashboard. The one that I have is top 10 items sold by quantity, and I have some other graphs showing information about items as well. I can change the slide here to change the date range that is being analyzed, and it will automatically update my my bars on my chart. And there's, Power BI reports is really limitless. It's a very powerful tool, so you can create many different Power BI reports here, as well as use the out-of-the-box reports that are available. I also added a trial balance here, and I can scroll through my different periods. I can drill down into my numbers and just get quick and easy access to the information I need. So last but not least, I want to touch on the Outlook integration that I told you about. I can access a lot of the same information that I just saw in Business Central right from Outlook. Here I have an email from one of my customers, and with the out-of-the-box integration, which is actually just right up here where it says Contact Insights, I can see on the right-hand side stats and history about the customer. So if I go down, I can actually drill into the tiles if I wanted to, and I can also just see some quick stats here. And if my customer is asking me to place an order, if I choose to do that, I can click New. I can create a sales quote, an invoice, or an order right from here, even a credit memo, and it will allow me to do that with a few quick steps just from the email. It will read the text as well, and it will know what item is being ordered and what the quantity is just from the context of the email. I can release the quote, send the attachment to my customer, and that's all I have to do. Now, there may be some users who like to do everything within Outlook. There may be some users who like to have their dashboard up and open, but the important thing to note is that they're both seeing the same information at the same time. It's always real time. So there's so much to show you in BC. This was really just a quick look at some of the features that I talked about in my presentation. I'm going to stop sharing that, and we will go back to our slides. And I just have one final slide, and that is to say thank you for your time and attention watching the presentation and taking a look at some of those features in Business Central. And I hope that gave you a look and feel of what the application is like and what are some of the opportunities that exist with Business Central. And I think with that, I'll turn it to Michelle, I believe, to transition to our next presentation, or maybe we're having a Q&A session at this moment.
Yeah, that's good. You want to go ahead?
Yeah, I think so.
No, that's right, Ann. Thank you so much for your presentation. We are now going to move into our second portion, the presentation demo from our friends over there at Louisville Geek. Please take it away.
All right, can you make that bigger?
Okay, we're good.
All right, good afternoon, everybody. We've got just a few slides here, and then I'm going to spend some time doing what I call the dog and pony show, because we're talking about Power BI, which is about visuals. And if a picture is worth 1,000 words, then I'm going to show you a bunch of pictures about Power BI, and that's kind of what we're going to be spending our time on today. I'm Steve Fulton. I'm the CFO for Louisville Geek, and I also serve as our data services practice manager. And a little bit about my background: I spent 10 years in public accounting, and then I spent about the last 25 years as a C-level executive or business owner. And about 15 years ago, I was exposed to not really Power BI, but everybody's talking about, and we've experienced the migration to the cloud, but it was the on-premise version of this, which was just an OLAP cube, which was still Microsoft product, SQL. And at that point in time, that was just a game changer for me. And just everything that I've always tried to be. There's two types of accountants, I think. One is the accountant who properly reports and monitors the score. And then there's the other type of an accountant who tries to help the business influence the outcome and to improve the results. So having said that, just a little bit about my background and what I'm made of. So I've got probably 12 years of using these tools that we're going to be looking at today. From the company's perspective, where I was a stakeholder and driving the results and pushing the team. And then for about the last 3 years, 3 or 4, I've been helping other companies do that. So that's a little bit about me. Ben, if you'll advance on to the next slide, we'll go on. And we've got a poll question here. So with coming off of COVID, kind of curious what business impacts of COVID are most concerning to you. Give everybody a little bit of time to go through these. And while we're waiting for the responses, when we get into looking at this is hopefully going to be an interactive session. I'm going to show you things, but I'm only going to show you things that I think you may be interested in. If you're looking at the presentation today, if you see something that's of interest, please use your chat function and make us aware of that, and we'll try to talk about that briefly. The more interactive, the better. So over here, looking at the poll results, I see decreased revenue and profit, 100%. Well, that's quite a few. Staffing changes, 100%. Cost containment, 50. Supply chain, 100. And decreased customer acquisition at 50. And then at the top, I see employee productivity, about 50. I debated, when I saw these questions, I debated whether I should do an all-nighter last night. And I thought, no, it's too late, because I've got a case study on employee productivity that's really, really insightful. And the all-nighter would have been anonymizing the data so that I could show that. And I just couldn't pull it off. So I'm glad that wasn't 100%. Everything was at 0, because I would have been just really missing out on an opportunity. So let's go look at some of the slides. So why do you want to know business intelligence, right? Well, you want to know what's going on. It's all about making business decisions. And we talked about data visualization, pictures worth 1,000 words. And why some people don't use it? Well, they think it's real hard, it's difficult. They love Excel. Ann talked a little bit about pulling data from Excel and using Excel and doing this analysis in Excel. Well, one of the good things about Power BI is you don't have to walk away from Excel. But what you do get the benefit is you can have one version of the truth, because you can get Power BI to pull from the authoritative source of the data and then do your analysis. and you don't have to worry about, well, what does your number say? What does my number say? And as an accountant with quite a few years of experience, that's pretty significant from an efficient standpoint. But more importantly, from an effectiveness standpoint, you can identify trends about where to go do your business. It's very difficult to put action items behind increasing EBITDA. And quite frankly, that's the only goal that really most people put together is how do we increase that? But that's not very actionable. So, having said that, as shown here, that allows us to do what I was just saying. We can track our performance. We know what we're doing. We can optimize our operations, and we know where to go. What do we need to do, and where do we need to go to improve that? And I've got a little case study that will help us understand that. And then, just the whole thing right here, it's the visual. I've said it 4 or 5 times in different ways, but it bears repeating. And I hope that at the end, you'll come up with that same thing, that, yeah, the visual is much easier, and couple that with some business rules, and I can really do a great deep dive into my business. And then very similar to what Ann was talking about a Microsoft product tying in with a bunch of different things. Same thing with the Microsoft Power BI. I put QuickBooks up here because I want people to realize that you don't have to be very big. I mean, I've got several clients that are under 10 million employees, but have done projects to really get pretty significant return on investments. And I want to talk about that just for a second. So one client specifically I was mentioned is the real small. They, because I can show you, when I was in public accounting, they taught us how to conduct a meeting. And what they told us was that you're supposed to tell the audience what you're going to tell them, then you're supposed to tell them, and then you're supposed to remind them what you told them. So what I'm going to show you today is a very cool product, okay? But who cares if it's a cool product if it can't drive an increase in something? And so not only is it cool, but can help you influence the outcome. And that kind of is why I want to give you this real quick little case study. It's not on the slide there, but a small manufacturing company who does about $5 million in revenue did a little project. It was under $15,000 worth to do everything. And within the first 6 months, they realized a $400,000 savings because they were able to do some analysis real quickly and identify some trends that caused them to continue to peel the onion and go deeper and make some pretty big changes in the organization that saved them $400,000. And, that's a pretty good return on investment. Even as an accountant, I can tell you that. It's almost a no-brainer. So I'll talk about a couple other case studies as we go through there. My partner, Ben, take us to the last slide here, which is kind of, just almost a repeat of the last thing. If all these products can come together to help understand what's going on. And at this point, give us just a second while we transition over to to me sharing my screen. And I've got that going on there. And in a second, you should see Power BI.
Steve, we see it. Go ahead.
All right, fantastic. So this is just some sample data, and just quite frankly, we're probably going to stumble across something that doesn't make sense because it is sample data. Sample data is pretty expensive to put together. I mean, it just takes a lot to make it all work and to tell a story, okay? So like I said a while ago, I'm a CPA by trade, and so that's the place that I tend to talk to folks who don't know. And I noticed in the audience, we had a couple people who their titles were controller, CFO, or whatnot. And, this is just an area of my comfort zone. And quite frankly, it's an area of my credibility. I mean, just I can get people to talk about a little financial reporting platform. And so what we've got here is just a simple financial reporting platform. And a couple things about Power BI. I'm going to try to balance between the business case of this and some of the things that make Power BI work, okay? And just kind of help you understand. I don't know how familiar you may be with it, but if you're not familiar, I'm hoping that you'll learn a bit about Power BI in addition to how Power BI may be able to help your organization improve their objectives. So what we're seeing right here is just a standard financial statement platform. Down here, we've got an income statement. In this upper right, we've got a balance sheet. And in here, we've kind of got a monthly visual trend of sales, sales and budget, and then net income. And so you can see here, things are pretty stable. Our revenue is pretty close to our budget each month and whatnot. And then, of course, I can just go through and drill down into this if I want to see the details of this. So really what the message here is, you can do a full monthly financial review, which I found most companies do, internal, departmental, even board level, from a platform like this, and get all the insight and all the questions, and ideally have the questions answered in the context of the meeting. So this is a year to date, and everything's kind of going through October. You see kind of through October of 21. So one cool thing about Power BI is everything is context sensitive. So when I click on the month of October, you may have noticed all these numbers out here changed. So I'm going to click on that back again. So this company for the whole year had done like $28 million versus a budget of 28. But when I click on October, now we're seeing 3 million versus a budget of 3.2. And then of course, still all the drill downs into the various areas, whatnot. But so right here on one page, I can see live year to date, and then we can focus for a month, and we can kind of see, you know, what's going on there. The other thing about this sample data that I'll show you is this is a multi-location situation, okay? So they've got a corporate office, which is only expenses, overhead only, and then they've got various offices throughout the region here. And so if I click on any of them, all of the numbers now change to that company. So now we can do the whole organizational review, and we can do each different market review. When I was in a role that had multi-locations, every time I would go to the location, we would sit down and look in detail at their operations.
No, you got the wrong number.
Okay. I was here and thought I heard a question, so I'm sorry for that. So I'm going to turn Louisville back off and go to the company as a whole. And then, of course, over here, we've kind of got the balance sheet. And there again, you know, you can click on that and you can see what specific items are in here, cash, accounts receivable, and whatnot. We've got comparison to year ends. And notice how when I click like on August, not only does this change, but then this goes back to the August balances as well, okay? And of course, I've got this little ribbon across the top if I want to see a 2020. So now I'm looking at the full results for 2020 compared to 2019. I'm having difficulty getting this to click here. Sorry about that. But and then go back to 2021. So this is just kind of a standard thing here. Now, one of the things that I want to focus about is, if you look at this, if you put yourself as a stakeholder in this, and you've got gross profit so far of 28 million, 7 and 28.8 as a budget. So we're $152,000 down. So you kind of say, what do we want to do to influence the outcome, right? Okay, I don't want to just accept that. I want to know, what can we do under a scope, schedule, and resources standpoint to drive the results, right? So you could go through each of these markets and kind of see what's going on, but we've built in some business rules called a margin analysis. And when I click on this, you'll notice that I've got all of the markets over here, and here is my margin. Okay, so we've just defined that, say, hey, show me margin only, and my actual margin percent, and then those compared to budget, and then my difference. So immediately I'm getting more information because I know that the company was $152,000 behind budget, but specifically, look at this, San Antonio is $964,000 behind. And for instance, Louisville is actually ahead of budget. So in the scheme of what do we want to go work on? Well, let's go figure out what's going on in San Antonio, okay? And what I typically do on some of these, I was kind of constrained by the time period, is I peel this onion one piece at a time. I normally only show this much and kind of go from there. But I'm going to step back up here for a second and show you that had we clicked on San Antonio, we could have seen the visual that's basically telling us that same thing. And the story here in San Antonio is we bought a pretty big operation down there in February of this year. And that's why you can see that the budget and the revenue increased. And it was kind of business as usual. We were doing pretty good. Well, unfortunately, about 3 or 4 months into the after the acquisition, we lost a big customer. And it stands out like a sore thumb right here, right? I mean, the other side was immediately telling us, but we can also see it here. And, you know, that's not all that uncommon in a situation where you have a business transition and sometimes things just don't work out as much as you want. The other side of that is in Costa County one-on-one, we learned that there's normally two things driving a margin impact. There's a volume component.
That's my office number. Who are you trying to reach?
And a pricing component, okay? And so there's some noise going on here, guys, so I'm sorry for the delay there. But what this is doing is it's breaking out this 152,000, how much is caused by volume and how much is caused by pricing. And we put the little KPI bar on here to just kind of help us. So ideally, you don't have to do anything that I've talked about for the last 8 minutes. Go straight to this slide, find the ones that are red and say, that's where we need to go do something. And let's think about that for a second. When I was just looking at here, I said, hey, Louisville's good because they're 125,000 above budget. Well, if you peel the onion and look at the difference between volume and pricing, you'll see that, wow, our volume is really good, but our pricing is killing us. And, you know, there again, that's when you, as an accountant, you've been told every time you show a number, you better be prepared to tell the story behind it, right? And so that's kind of what we've got going on here is, oh yeah, once we see that, we know that the Louisville market got a new customer and they've been driving a lot of volume, but we may want to talk to our sales folks and help them with their pricing strategy. They're probably giving the product away as opposed to talking about the value proposition of the product. And then the last thing I've got here is, you know, in the world of improving the areas that are not giving you the results and leaving everything else alone, if you just go fix the ones that are the gaps, instead of being $152,000 behind, you can be like 1.4 million ahead, and you only have to go to like 3 markets and do in 3 or 4 areas. So anyway, that's just kind of an example. Typically, you know, a price volume analysis may not be the most relevant thing for your organization, but in a data set like this, it's kind of useful. And then here's just another visual that's, you can come into here and say, wow, Houston, this is just on the X and Y axis is how much is the pricing impact and how much is the volume. You can immediately see, well, Houston's volume is pretty much right where they want, but boy, they're really doing something strong on pricing, okay? And which is shown right here, it's 530,000 ahead of budget. So maybe what we do is we get our Houston team to coach and mentor our Louisville team a little bit on how they're able to do that. And then I'm going to move on down to this budget analysis here. And because this is a function of, my experience is every budgeting process has just always been so unstructured and just a nightmare. And what we've got here for our clients is a way of having a budget development. So this is preparing the 2022 budget. So if I go back over here and click on 2022, you'll see that there are some, so we've already begun working on our 2022 budget and formulating that. And this is what it's showing right now from our graph. But at a more detailed level, I can immediately go in and say, what we've got in for the revenue stream is 166,000, which is a 12.8% increase. We've got this gross profit and this net income. And no matter what I do on that context sensitivity thing that I was talking about, these always stay the same. Because a lot of times in a corporate environment, they'll say, we've got a target of a 15% increase, and you want to just immediately be able to come in and look at this one square, maybe, if you're the person that's managing the revenue stream, and see how that is. But then if you want to kind of do some budget review, one of the things you see, I've got this market matrix in the middle. So of this 166 million in revenue, I can click on revenue over here, and because of the context sensitivity within Power BI, all these numbers change, and now I can see the 166 by budget and by the current year estimate, which it's telling me is a function of 10 months of actual and 12 months and 2 months of the budget. And so then I can look at this and kind of see, does it make sense? And, these are contrived numbers, so it doesn't make sense, but, the regional salesperson could probably know which market should be up a certain piece, which one should be, or whatnot. And if I go back here and just turn on gross profit, then you see that now I see the gross profit, or the net income number rather, by market. So this is just a way of kind of having your budget that you're formulating all in one place, because I think we need to be able to have insight into a budget being developed as much as just monitoring budget to actual. So I'm going to switch gears here in the last couple of minutes and move over to something that's unrelated to kind of business, but it kind of drives, the purpose of this is to drive the impact of the visual tools and getting underlying data. I've showed financial reporting stuff because that's my strength, my comfort zone, but really any type of data that you want, you can pull in here. So our name is Louisville Geek, so we're in Kentucky, and I'm a UK fan, so UK basketball is a thing that I can always show and talk about. And so we just pulled together, and all this is doing is it's going to a website and pulling this information in, but instead of it being in a real clunky format, it's in a what I call a very cool format. It's in Power BI. And so I can go down to any season and click on it, and I can see whether we won or lost and who the players are. Probably this level of detail is not something I want to do. If I want to do a little more analysis, I can come into here, and you can just see that we've got our current coach and these previous coaches. And if I click on any one of them, then everything over here changes related to them. And, this is just kind of showing a chart of, hey, it would take me a long time to be able to figure out who has Kentucky played more times than anybody. But this chart right here is just telling me. It's telling me we've played Tennessee more than anybody because they're the farthest out there. And if I hover over them, we've played them 207 times, and our record is 144-63. And, there again, pretty painless to be able to do that, and pretty comprehensive. Didn't have to go through a whole bunch of seasons or whatnot. And just kind of being mindful of the clock there, I figure I probably have about 90 seconds left. I'm just going to click over on the season summary and kind of the same thing. You can see the detail of what particular season, who was the coach, and kind of how we performed there. It's just, and then at the top, because of the whole context thing, I can immediately change, okay, how did I do in the conference? How am I doing in non-conference? And if I knew where some of these folks were located, I'd focus in on your school and hopefully be able to pick on you, because we'd have a winning record against you. But I don't have that information, but I can see how we did on the road, home, or whatnot. And, this is just a real simple, less than, 4 or 5 hours on a weekend type of a thing, pulled together of something that's just of interest. Really doesn't have any impact on making UK better, but it's just kind of a little tool that I thought may be worth 3 or 4 minutes to have everybody look at, to kind of understand that I showed you a financial reporting thing, but that's not all Power BI can do. It can be any type of data that you have available can be used. So at this point, I'm going to stop talking and ask my partner if there's been any questions or anything that has come in. I don't see anything.
Yeah, actually, Steve, thanks so much for that presentation. We do have a question. Someone's worried about issues with the tendency toward more lax security hygiene practices from the shift to remote and back to the office, or even a hybrid. So I guess I'll throw that back out to you all, and also Anne, if you wanted to chime back in on that security hygiene practices question.
Yeah, so from maybe not from a security hygiene, but from a data hygiene, one of the things that Power BI really helps on is, since you're pulling directly from the transaction source and it's always live, then your ability and your data integrity, in my experience, always skyrockets because of two things. One, you're pulling from the authoritative source. You're not using something that was downloaded a week ago and now it's stale. And when you put the data out there for everybody to see, they tend to be more engaged and help clean up the data that is there. And kind of in accounting speak, if there's a department that knows they've been spending a lot of money on with a lawyer because they have a big lawsuit going on, and they're looking at the information and they see that the legal expenses are down, well, that's kind of a red flag for them to talk to the accountants, and they wouldn't ever say words like "you missed an accrual," but that's really what they're saying. It's like, hey, I know I've been spending money on legal fees, but I don't see it there. So my experience, Michelle, is that the data integrity actually increases substantially through visualization tools like this, because it just makes things stand out.
Terrific. Thank you very much for that. We do have one BC question too. Anne, do you have the option to create positive pay and upload files to banks in BC, is the question?
Yes, positive pay and bank integrations like EFT payments and ACH payments are standard functionality. It's just a matter of setting it up with the individual banks in question. That's usually accomplished by creating a test file, either a positive pay file or an ACH file, for example, sending it to the bank. They will then provide their feedback as to fields that need to move or requirements that need to be added. Once that is defined, that one-time setup is done, and then you're able to use those functionalities in your day-to-day operations.
All right, terrific. Thanks for that. Let's see, just checking one more time. I don't see any more questions, but I do see that we are just past 2 o'clock now. So we'll go ahead and wrap up with that. I want to thank everyone again for your time this afternoon. Thanks to Anne, thanks to Steve for their presentations and demos, certainly appreciate it. And it's been a pleasure. You've had contact information shared for the team. So if there's anything we can do, any more questions we can answer, please don't hesitate to contact us. Have a great afternoon, everyone. Thank you.